the scriptures tell us to make a joyful noise. So if you would, turn your hymnals over to 329. There is power in the blood. Would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would your evil a victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you be free from your passion and pride? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Come for cleansing to Calvary's side. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power, the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you do service for Jesus your King? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you live daily his praises to sing? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, power, wonder-working power, the blood of the Lamb. There is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb.
Good morning. Welcome. I'm glad that you have come here today at Faith Church to worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. And I hope that this is a special day of worship for you. This is Thanksgiving week. I like Thanksgiving week. I like Thanksgiving. You say, well, what's so special about Thanksgiving, Robbie? Eating. I love to eat, and I'm thankful that this is a week that we get to eat, and nobody says, well, don't eat that. Nope, we're going to eat this week. And then we're going to be thankful, of course, for all the blessings of the Lord. I was thinking this past week how good God is, how good He's been to me and to my family, and how good He's been to so many of us in this church. Yes, I know that we all go through difficult times on occasion, but I can't imagine those times without God as my helper. And He's always there for us, and I thank Him for that. Things are going to be a little different, a lot different around here. Brother Brian has been ill, and he told me and Stuart and others that for the foreseeable future, he would not be able to be our worship leader on Sunday morning here at church. I've discussed this with the deacons, kind of saw this coming because Brian, as Janet will say, has been warning me. So I discussed the fact that we'll probably be needing a worship leader. And so that time has come, and my deacon said, go find one. Well, if you go out in this world today looking for a minister of music, folks, you're not going to find very many out there, okay? But there is one available. He's a good friend of mine. His name is Mark Black. He will be here Tuesday night. We don't have time to deal with a lot of stuff, so he'll be here on Tuesday night to meet with our musicians and to meet with our choir. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Mark. He is a choir builder. That's what he told me and I watched him. He was my minister of music when I was at Spring Creek before I came here. And he's awesome. He's enthusiastic, and I think that you will love him. He will be, you'll get to know him in time, but I want you to come here Tuesday night. We're having our midweek service on Tuesday because of Thanksgiving this year. And I want you to get acquainted with him. He'll talk to you about what his plans are for the choir. And then you can ask him questions. And then this coming Sunday morning, he's going to be in charge of our music program. So I put some resumes out on the in the foyer. So if you would like to learn more about him before he comes, but he's not only a music guy, but he is also a author, and he's been busy in our work for years. He's been the worship leader for the American Baptist Association and led singing at our associational meetings. A true gentleman, early 60s. So come Tuesday night and get acquainted with Mark, and we'll have our Bible lesson as well. And after that, you can talk to him. Again, thank you so much for coming today. Just a few announcements. We are taking up a special offering, a Thanksgiving offering for missions. And as you leave the building today, if you haven't already given to that and you want to, just drop it in our offering plate outside and let us know it's for missions. So we're going to do that and send that for our mission work nationally and internationally, worldwide. So remember that. And our midweek services will be on Tuesday this week because of the Thanksgiving holidays. Anything else this morning? All right. I'd like we got time for this, but let's be thinking about Brian. I want to give him a good going away bonus. So let's be thinking about that, okay? And he's not going away. We're still going to use him here at this church all the time. But he's served us wonderfully, and I think we ought to give him just a love, not a bonus, a love offering, just to demonstrate our love to him. All right, Stuart, the other Thomas, will you come sing for us?
All right, let's take our hymnals, turn to page 323 at the Alas, and did my Savior bleed, and did my sovereign die? Would he devote that sacred head for sinners such as I? At the cross, where I first saw the light, and the burden of my heart rolled away. It was there by faith I received my sight, and now I am happy all the day. Was it for crimes that I have done, he groaned upon the tree? Amazing pity, grace unknown, and love beyond degree. At the cross, where I first saw the light, and the burden of my heart rolled away. It was there by faith I received my sight, and now I am happy all the day. But drops of tears can ne'er repay the debt of love I owe. give myself away, 'tis all that I can do. At the cross, where I first saw the light, and the burden of my heart rolled away. It was there by faith I received my sight, and now I am happy all the day. Amen. If you would, please stand as we sing the next. Leaning on the everlasting arms. 575. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning on the everlasting arms. Make your neighbor feel welcome. Safe and secure from all alarms, leaning on the everlasting arms. Amen. You may be seated.
Something. Brian and Janet aren't going anywhere. She is going to be our church pianist as always, and Brian is going to be, he told me he wanted to be used in any way he can when he can be here and do it. So remember Brian's health. Guys, he has been going through it. Janet, they really haven't figured out what the whole problem is, but he's lost an enormous amount of weight unintentionally, and he just can't eat, and he's sick all the time. So remember Brian in your prayers. That's to me, that's what we need to focus on, that Brian gets well. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 40 this morning. This is the last message that I'm going to preach on the journey, the Christian journey. You know, I've learned a lot over the years. I've learned that I'm not as good as I think I am. I have learned that I am not as talented as I think I am. And I've learned that if I've ever accomplished anything on my Christian journey as a man or as a pastor, it's not anything that I've done. It's all about what God has done. And there's one thing I think it's very important for all of us to grasp. As we serve God, all we can do is share the gospel, talk to people about Jesus, about our church, and wait on God. Look at Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the weak, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. The prophet Isaiah wrote, those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Hebrew word that means to hope strongly. Hope strongly. To trust. To expect. To wait steadily and patiently. Wait is closely akin to the New Testament word hope, which means waiting in positive expectation. To wait on the Lord means we expect. Now listen to me. It means that we expect God to work in our lives. We expect it. Then when God works in our lives, it feels pretty good. And we soar like eagles. You know, I look back at my life, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've come to the conclusion several years ago when I retired that I have no desire to sail quietly into the sunset. I've not lost my zeal or my desire to build up Faith Missionary Baptist Church. In fact, I don't intend to spend the golden years of my life and ministry depressed, thinking about what might have been, and waiting for God to finally put me out of my ministry or out of my misery. It's not my style. In fact, this is going to be a good year next year, and we're going to end this one on a positive note because I intend to soar with the eagles. I want to run without becoming weary. I want to walk and not faint. And I believe we can do a great work at Faith Missionary Baptist Church. But as we do that, sometimes we have to wait. Lord, I've waited long enough. No. Sometimes we just have to wait. You say, well, if we have to wait, Robbie, how do we accomplish a good work for God today? First of all, relax. God is powerful. It's not Robbie that does it, and it's you that accomplishes the work. It is God, because our power is in God. I look back on my Christian journey, and I've decided that over the years I have put too much pressure on myself. I have always wanted to be and striven to be a successful pastor and a church builder. And there's nothing wrong with this. However, there have been times when I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, and my Christian journey became a roller coaster ride. One week I was up, the next week I was down, basically because of the numbers on the attendance board. As a competitive, success-oriented pastor, it has taken me some time to accept the fact that God does what He does, with or without Robbie Horne. As a competitive person, it took me a long time to come to grips with the fact that God is my strength, that God is my source of power. As David wrote in Psalm 18:1, I will love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I will call upon the name of the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. Nowhere does David say in this psalm, me, me, me. It is all God. You see, my friends, God is the source of our strength. And so the prophet Isaiah asked, have you not known? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. Isaiah is reminding Judah, you and me, that the everlasting God, the God who created everything, doesn't get tired. God is too powerful, too strong to become weary. It is important, Isaiah believed, for people to know, really know God and His power. His power. Same principle is true for Robbie Horne and for you. I can witness. I can minister. I can serve God to the best of my ability. But listen to me, I can't make things happen. Only God can do this. At one time in his life, the Saul of Tarsus hated Jesus, and he hated the church. In fact, Paul told King Agrippa in Acts 26 that he was responsible for the imprisonment and death of many Christians, that he punished them and compelled them to blaspheme, or forced them to blaspheme, and that he voted in favor of their execution. Then one day something unique happened in Saul's life. On his way to persecute more Christians on the Damascus road, he came face to face with Jesus, the man he knew who had been executed and had died a year before. And he met him on the Damascus road. This man who was supposed to be dead was calling him and talking to him. And from that day forward, Paul wanted to know more about Jesus. And according to Philippians 3:10, the power of His resurrection Think about it, folks. The power that raised Jesus from the dead is the power that saves us from our sins. Ephesians 2:4. The power that raised Jesus from the dead keeps us saved. 1 Peter 1:5. The power that raised Jesus from the dead works in us so that we can serve Him. Ephesians 3:20. The power that raised Jesus from the dead keeps us strong in the Lord. Ephesians 6:10. And that power that raised Jesus from the dead gives us courage. 2 Timothy 1:7. The power that brought Jesus back to life is the power God gives us to live, to excel, and to overcome. No wonder the Apostle Paul wrote, Philippians, I can do all things through Christ strengthens me. Jesus said, John 15:5. Without me, you can do nothing. We, even when we're young, get tired and weary. But God doesn't. God does what He does in His own time. We can't force it. So what should we do? Be who we are. Love God, love people. Relax. And wait on God. It's so much more fun to preach to people who are relaxed. Next. What else can we do to build a work today? Well, if you're going to relax, then just don't stress. Why? Because God's power is sufficient. It'll do. You know, at times on your Christian journey, you may feel invincible. But then Satan throws up a roadblock. You come crashing down, and then all of a sudden, maybe in a day's time, you go from the mountaintop to the valley, and you feel like you have to reach up to scratch bottom. Been there and done that. During times of perceived invincibility, I have failed because, truth be known, I depended on my strength instead of God's strength. Isaiah wrote, He gives power to the weak. And to those who have no might, He increases strength. This is an important point. God is the source of our strength. And He gives us strength when we need it. When life has sapped our strength and we feel as if the light at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming train, it is time for us then to recognize that God is the difference between success and failure. It is God who enables us to take the very first tiny steps of accomplishment and eventually then helps us move mountains. The Apostle Paul accomplished a great deal in his ministry, in his life. And in fact, Paul tells us, be strong, my brethren, in the Lord and in the power of His might. Paul, late in his life, realized he could not have accomplished the things he accomplished in his life, building churches throughout the known world, if he had depended on his own strength. But since he depended on God's strength, he was able to accomplish great things. And the same principle applies to us. Be strong in the Lord. David, a teenager, is an example of this. 3,000 years ago, God chose David to become king of Israel. This is in 1 Samuel 17. David was a man after God's own heart. And he knew his strength came from God. So when David fought the Philistine champion Goliath, he won that battle because he depended on God and his power. In fact, David told Goliath in verse 45, "You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts." Goliath must have thought, boy, this was one cocky youngster. And he must have been a little more than amused when David said, verse 46, "This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you and take your head from you." Then what did David do? He shouted, "The battle is the Lord's," in verse 47. And then he ran toward Goliath, totally unintimidated. And he buried a stone in the forehead of Goliath with a sling. And he watched the big man fall to the ground. And then he decapitated Goliath using Goliath's own sword. At the flick of David's wrist, an undefeated champion fell, and a new champion took his place. Was David big enough? No. Was he old enough? No. Was he strong enough? No. Was he experienced enough to defeat Goliath? No. He wasn't even a soldier at the time. But with faith and the power of God, David defeated the Philistine champion. On our Christian journey, we must depend on God's strength, not our own. You see, it is God who tears down walls and moves mountains. It is God who gives us the strength to prevail and to excel. The sooner we learn this lesson, the sooner we will defeat giants and soar like eagles on our Christian journey. And finally, what else can we do to build a good work nowadays? Be patient. You see, God has this. He's got it. He knows what he's doing. I'm not, and never have been, a patient man. I want to be more patient. When I start a project, though, sometimes I have tunnel vision. I won't quit until I'm finished. I go after everything like a ball of fire, especially when the juices are flowing. I don't stop until I'm finished. Waiting doesn't come easy for an impatient person. I have learned, however, that when I move too quickly, things rarely turn out well. As a young pastor, I was full of big ideas. You say, well, Robbie, have you lost them over the years? No. I still want to accomplish something significant for our Lord. But this is the reason Isaiah wrote, "Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fail." Isaiah isn't saying that young men can't accomplish great things. Looking back, I accomplished many good things as a young pastor. But Isaiah is saying that it's always wise for young men and older men to wait on God. And then he put these great immortal words. "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." This is a wonderful promise. When we wait on God, He renews our strength and we soar like eagles. When we wait on God, we walk, we run, and we don't get tired because it's His strength. This is exciting. This is true accomplishment. I look at this building on any given Sunday, and I see that this church has much to offer God. Using our strength and our abilities, we can accomplish a great deal. However, true accomplishment, fulfilling accomplishment, lasting accomplishment comes when we wait on the Lord. Society, no doubt, has changed a great deal in the 21st century. As I mentioned last week, the bridge between young and old has lengthened. And the fallout from a worldwide pandemic has affected church attendance negatively around the world. But this doesn't mean that our best days are behind us. Jesus said, Matthew 16:18, I will build my church. I will do it. And He said, the gates of Hades or hell shall not prevail against it. I am convinced today, folks, that if we share the gospel with our family, our friends, and our acquaintances and wait on God, Jesus will build Faith Missionary Baptist Church. And life at its best is when we wait on God and then experience His blessings and soar with the eagles. Been on my Christian journey a long time in conclusion. And I'm tired of the roller coaster ride. Been tired of it for a long, long time. Up one week, down the next. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to witness. And I'm going to wait on God. I am going to serve in any way you want me, Father. And I'm going to wait on you. I'm going to preach. And I'm going to wait on the Lord. I'm not going to ride quietly into the sunset and become an old, disillusioned, and defeated Baptist preacher. I believe God has given me the opportunity here at Faith Church to go out victoriously. And I intend to do that if I wait on the Lord. You see, the devil wants to postpone everything. He wants me to get in this rut and say, uh-oh, Robbie, look how bad things are. When I just need to look around and see how good things are and just keep doing what I do and wait on God to bless. So let me give you some advice for your Christian journey. I think this will help you. First, you have a vicious enemy. But don't let the devil get to you. Don't let him get you down. Because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. 1 John 4:4. Second, be faithful to your church. Because your church needs people, young and old. We need you here. We do. Be faithful. Third, love God and love people. Because this is what the Bible's all about. And fourth, be patient. Wait on the Lord and enjoy His blessings that will surely come. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I meant to, Brian helped me on the very first sermon with this, and I wanted that song, I Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now, to play as we close out this series of sermons. But look, you say, well, Robbie, how can you be so positive? You've been sifted. Yep. And I didn't tell you about another time I got sifted that hurt just about as bad. Well, the devil's been after you. Yes, he has. You say, well, how can you not take nothing for your journey now? Because when I look back on my life and my Christian journey, 95% of everything I've gone through has been wonderful. And I wouldn't want to go through that 5% without my God standing by my side. I wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. And I pray you're ready to get on that road with Jesus and follow him. Won't you do that? While we stand.